Now, nothing gets my heart and adrenaline pumping more than a hot hatch, more so when it's this, the new Renault Megane RS 280 Cup. Now, this is an all-new version of the Megane RS. So there are a few changes here and there. For starters, it gets a smaller engine, but it is turbocharged for powerful output for both the city and track driving. Power is sufficient, but we'll get to that later on. More importantly, this new Megane, it has matured in several areas. For start, there's now an extra pair of doors and an option for you to specify an EDC paddle shift automatic box. Now, does that soften this top driver's choice hot hatch in any way? Let's find out first by taking this through the heart of the city. You guys need to check this out. Now that is a very racy welcome, fitting for a very racy cabin. As you can see, there's some carbon effect trimmings here, bucket seats with Alcantara lining, a full leather wrap steering wheel with a red centerline, ready for a track day. And since this is the EDC model, we welcome paddle shifters for the first time in the Megane RS. Also, because this is the EDC, it gets paired up with an EPB, or electronic parking brake. So the result is a very clean and neat flush in the center console. Part of the maturity involves this, a new touchscreen infotainment unit, and it has smartphone connectivity, in particular Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So overall, it's still a very racy cabin, but there's a genuine sense of purpose and convenience for the daily here too. How does that feel? Well, only one way to find out. Let's drive off and see. Right, here we are, middle of the day on the LDP in a hot hatch. A few years ago, that might have been a recipe for stress. Not the case now with this Megane RS, largely thanks to its new EDC transmission. Yes, real drivers drive with 3 pedals in a stick, but in this day and age, maybe it's time that the Megane RS kept up with modern times, and it has. What I like about this EDC transmission is the fact that it adds greater flexibility for the daily grind. You don't have to stress driving through the LDP at 12:30 in the afternoon on a weekday now in this car. And it's a great complement to the extra doors that it has now, so you can bring some of your mates with you. A good daily driver. Now, what adds to this daily driving credentials is this, the infotainment. As I mentioned earlier, it now has modern connectivity, so there is Apple CarPlay, so you could Waze and whatnot. Also, whilst here, you have selectable drive modes, and you now have the choice between comfort and neutral on top of sport, race and personal. I'm now in comfort mode, and as you can see, I've got a big smile on my face. Things are not too stressful. I have to say, the chassis does feel a tad bumpy still, and that's because this is the Cup chassis, so it has stiffer springs and a hydraulic bump stop, but it's not too shabby. It's not harsh. It is hard, but it's not harsh, and I say that because there is some level of damping present. But overall, if you choose to daily drive a Megane RS 280 Cup, you can. And you'd best do it in this version, the one with the DCT transmission. Now here's the bonus. The infotainment is paired with the Alchemist 3D sound system, and it sounds banging. Now if you don't mind, I'm going to enjoy some of that now. Right then, has the Megane matured enough to be a good daily driver? Just enough. Especially when you put it in either neutral or comfort mode, everything softens up just enough for you to handle the daily grind with, as I've just shown you. But really, in truth, the Megane RS is a hot hatch. The urban setting is not where it belongs. It belongs in a twisty open road where we can unleash all 280 PS available from this 1.8 litre 4-cylinder turbo. And that's not all that this hot hatch has for the twisties. It's got powerful Brembo brakes and actual working aerodynamics, as you can see from the rear diffuser. But more importantly, it also has something that Renault calls 4 control. Now what that means, this Megane has rear wheel steering. Now we know this is what gives the Megane the enhanced agility. So let's go find out how that feels like. Let's go get ourselves a nice twisty B road. Where could we go? found myself a nice twisty B road to thrash the Megane. Now in sport mode, the Megane RS changes nature. The Megane RS transforms into a whole different animal altogether, one that's ready to carve corners. Oh, just listen to that. Now this other thing this Megane has over its predecessor is something that Renault calls 4Control. What is 4Control? 4Control is basically 4-wheel steer. Aha! This is a front-wheel drive hot hatch that has rear-wheel steering. Now what that means is a front-wheel drive hot hatch that will carve corners as if it's on rails. Just look at this. No matter how tight the corner line gets, the Megane RS just sticks into this line. What also helps here are these beefy Brembo brakes up front. Ooh, look at that. Wow. I don't know about you, but as far as front wheel drive hot hatches go, this thing corners really like it's on rails. Right then, verdict time. So as you can see, the new Megane RS 280 Cup has lived up to the hype and the benchmarks set by its predecessors. Only now, this one, as you can see, has been made a little bit more sensible, which in turn makes this one reach a new peak as far as the Renault Sport Megane's model history go, no? Either way, this is not a bad way to spend 300,000 ringgit. Yes, nobody said senseless speed with some sensibility in one package came cheap. But just look at it, you wouldn't mind, no? Right then, till the next time.